Well, kind of going into the 2021 season, a lot of the shows weren't, they kind of start adding them as time kind of went along. They had some early shows, the New York Pro, the Indy, that were kind of in May, and then there was that gap where then they started picking up again in the end of June, July, kind of going into August.
Yep.
When you're prepping at the level we have to prep at, you don't want to try to, you don't want to prep for 8 months out of the year. I mean, eventually there's a point where your body says no more, and then you're fighting it, and everything you're throwing at it just doesn't work. So, you got to take a little strategy when it comes to planning the time frame that you want to diet, the time frame that you want to compete. And I mean, not only physically, but the mental aspect to it as well. There's a lot that obviously goes into what we do. So looking at the schedule, Tampa, like Texas was not on it until maybe June. So it was, but I heard about rumblings of them having a Texas show. And so like Tampa was on the radar. Like, okay, if I do a show the way, my schedule was with life and the things I have going on, like Tampa was a show I was going to do. And then Texas popped up, and I'm like, you know what? We'll put all our cards and all our eggs into the Texas basket. I feel a show like that, really any regional show, so to speak, that I could go to, and I feel I'm good enough to win.
Yeah.
And I felt like, you know what? I treated it. I was very excited and motivated, and hell, it's going to be my backyard. Nobody's coming to Texas to win. It's my show to win.
Yeah.
So I was, I treated it like an Arnold, like an Olympia prep. I trained I didn't take the prep lightly at all. Like, if I just come in, 80 or 90%, I'll be good. I was like, no, I want to, I'm going to bring a package. I've been on stage in a little over a year. So it's show some improvements. To show what, like a new and improved time off Steve Kuclo does. And I felt like, I showed some really good improvements. And was it the best, looking at a strategy wise, was it the best way to do it? Probably not. No, I mean, if I wanted to guarantee a qualification, I would have tried to do 2 or 3 shows. But at the same time, knowing that, like I just felt confident in myself to go ahead and win that show. Not to discredit any of the guys, not to say any guys aren't good. I just felt if I showed up at that show, I could win it. And then knowing that I have the Arnold as well as an option, but obviously you want to try to lock in that qualification as early as possible. That's kind of that's my goal, obviously. But I think the chest and back, like you said, was something we always tried to work on, just creating more density, more detail through there, and through time and muscle maturity, and really adjusting my training programs and everything that Gina's done. I think we've really brought an improved overall package to the stage. We've kind of figured out the equation when it comes to dialing it in for me, just because being such a massive frame and a big body, it's different from filling up a guy that's 220 or 230 compared to a guy that's 285, 290 on stage. As far as the amount of food we have to eat, the things we have to do, it's just a different beast altogether. So we really got a good formula figured out for that part of it. So I'm confident in really all aspects of my prep now. It was a very close fought battle but all a little different physiques. Like Phil brought that like super grainy, gnarly conditioning that he had. Iain kind of brought the condition with the mass he had. I felt like I brought a good condition with the mass factor too. And so it wasn't like there was 3 of the same physiques. You're just trying to figure out which one's better. There was 3 great physiques that all had their strong points. And like I think if you said you talked to Iain and the amount of times that we went through our comparison, we did our first round 2 or 3 rounds. Then they pulled us off, put up the other guys, and they brought us back out. This is just during prejudging.
Right.
And they ran us through another 3 times. I think that final call out, we were up there close to 18 minutes. I had a buddy of mine be like, "You were up there 18 minutes." And I mean, that in itself is, I mean, Tyler looked at us on the 3rd call out. He's like, "Could you guys go another round?" I mean, you're not going to say no, but
Yeah.
I mean, we definitely got worked in the energy and excitement that was in the audience, and obviously I brought a huge crowd, just being, having friends and everybody that's local here
Yeah.
able to come out and see me, which, a lot of them don't get to travel to Vegas or, or Columbus or Orlando for Olympias and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it was cool for them to be able to see me really in action and being able to compete at that level. And the, what the show that we put on, I think was one of the best regional shows that I've ever competed in. And I think people compared it to any of the energy to Mr. Olympia. Super close, and looking at photos from the previous shows kind of leading up, I knew a lot of guys were going to just kind of jump from show to show.
Yeah.
And that's not a easy thing to do. And Iain coming off to Tampa, I think it plays in my favor not doing a show the week before, but he did an amazing job at actually coming in better for the Texas show than he looked at Tampa, which is not easy. So my hat's off to him on doing that. And even Phil, coming from Tampa to Texas and really just coming in even sharper and better. So they made me work. And, it was just to me, a show that I always remember and a great show. Sure, there's a disappointment of not winning and wanting to win, but it just put a real hot fire under my ass for the Arnold. I think bodybuilding is a sport of extremes overall. I mean, and it is usually the biggest, driest, gnarliest physique is what wins bodybuilding shows. And we all kind of know that. I think anybody that's in the sport of bodybuilding in itself knows that you have to bring one of the things that's funny, when I was training with Justin Harris way back in the day, his thing was like the closest one to death is going to win. True. But, I think some people do take things too far, and the drying out process and different things that you can do to really accentuate conditioning. I think sometimes people that aren't educated enough in the body or the way certain supplements work and stuff like that, you can, and that's to me, like, you need to vet trainers, and if they know their shit, because there's a lot that really don't. They say they do, they've worked with a lot of people, but they kind of throw shit at the wall and see what sticks, and it's not like they know what it's physiologically doing to the body. So they kind of under that more is better mentality, and that's not good. So I think sometimes people are using things, maybe like a diuretic water pills they're trying to make up for not being in condition, not being in shape. And when you're doing that, you're putting yourself at risk. Obviously, you're beating the crap out of your kidneys. You're forcing, there's too many things going on that obviously bad things can happen, which we don't want to ever see. So I think if people just work their ass off, get in shape, they're not going to have to do extreme things at the end. I think the farther I've gotten in my career, the more I've realized, like, hey, if you're where you need to be at a week or 2 weeks out, don't do a whole lot of crazy shit to get on stage, because you should be ready to go. Like, it's why risk? I always say, why risk, looking 1% better to look 99% worse? Like there's, I'm going to try this crazy dry out thing, and then you look flat and look like crap, and then you're like, damn, I shouldn't have done that. So I think there's smart ways to go about it, and if you just do your work you need to do and get into shape, you don't need to go crazy with the diuretics and different things. I've seen that. I mean, you see a resurgence of a lot of old things like that used to be used back in the day, that these internet guys that have especially the internet gurus that you hear. That's where I caution people, even young competitors or competitors that are just kind of getting into the sport, but somebody may be popular, and then you're hearing protocols they're telling people and different things, and I'm like, they're doing 2 or 3 times what guys on the Olympia stage are doing. Like, you guys this is crazy. So you really have to educate yourself and consult. I mean, even if it sounds crazy, but consult your doctors. Like, hey, this is what's going on. Is this based on my blood work and my medical history? Is this okay for me to do? Like, hopefully you have a doctor that you trust that is somewhat understanding of the lifestyle and stuff like that. So I think people's health, they do need to take in consideration their own health. And obviously we all have a choice to make if you want to risk how much you want to risk with everything. And I mean, I've been able to do this 18 years, a long time. It's because I've been very smart and safe and like consulted my doctors and do regular blood work, do the things I have to do to stay healthy. And when you do that, you can have a long, safe, healthy career at this. But if you're trying to go extreme, push your body too fast, too far, you're going to, something's going to break. I've kind of the last 3-4 years, especially I think the time I worked with Gina, we've started my prep in the 280, 278, and I've gone up to, recount my body to 290 and just kind of floated there and let my body just kind of grow into the show. It's, I probably eat more when I'm dieting, just the amount of food and being very consistent with all my nutrition. And then my training's on point. So all those things working together synergistically, just, my body recomps, it grows, it's primed, and it works. I think it's a safer way to go than trying to come down 40 or 50 pounds for a show. That's just, the yo-yo or the roller coaster, the up and down is not easy on the body either. No, I got up to like 305 once and it just wasn't that comfortable. So I like, I like feeling like, man, if I need to go run a mile, I could run a mile. If I need to, if I bend over and tie my shoes, I'm not going to be out of breath. The old school bodybuilding mentality was get as big as you can, who cares? And then, we'll bring it down for the show. So I think there's a new wave a little bit into, and I hope I can, influence guys to be a little bit smarter, not be so extreme off season and think they got to put on all this weight to make improvements. That's not the case. The training aspect and the challenge of what bodybuilding had to offer, being that kind of one-man sport. It's not a team sport. It's like, hey, it's on you to do the work. It's on you to get in the gym every day and eat the food, and then when you see the results, it makes it all really worth it. So that's what kind of drew me to the sport, and I think having that functionality behind it with the athletic background has kept me healthy. Like as far as reduced injuries, it's not like you see a lot of guys that aren't very linear with their movements. Like for me, I could always be kind of side to side, front and back, like and it's kept me healthy, kept my shoulders healthy, kept my legs, and I've never really had issues just from lifting, and that's why last year was kind of one of the reasons I took off Olympia too. I had some stem cell treatment done on my shoulders, knees, back, just to kind of get a little, my doctor calls it like putting fertilizer on the grass. Like we need to, help everything out. And I tell you what, like, I feel like I'm 25, my joints feel great. My strength is there. So yeah, it's good to feel good. Right. I know it's been important for me to stay healthy, and obviously you want to have a healthy career after bodybuilding. You see guys like Jay Cutler, who to me has done it right. The guy is still very functional. He looks great. He's healthy. I don't want to be the Ronnie Coleman or just beat the crap out of my body and I, can't walk kind of thing. No, but I still lift heavy. I mean, I still lift heavy. I still, if I'm feeling froggy, I jump. So I'm not gonna, if I've been in the last few weeks, I've done some 200-pound dumbbell presses because everything felt good and I rolled with it, and I'll move the weight, but I'm not gonna do it like an ego lift where I'm just swinging weight. Like I'm doing it with a purpose. So, and if I could purposefully lift heavy weight to achieve the goals I want, I'm gonna do it. Yeah. It's not just to move weight for Instagram likes. I was at the Rangers baseball game last night, and I was talking to some people that were in the suite with us, and we were talking, and they asked about the money in bodybuilding. Is there good money in it? And I said, well, it's enough to live a comfortable life, but it's not like the guys that are on the field right here that are making a ton of money. Yeah. I said, I wish we were at that kind of money, but at the same time, like you said, we really do it for the passion of the sport. It's in our blood. It's just the kind of the drug we got addicted to of iron, and we're able to, if you could, I always say, like, I was able to take a hobby and turn it into a career and be able to do something I really enjoy and love. And yeah, there's time it sucks and you're tired and there's a lot of sacrifice with it, but through all that sacrifice there, you know, when you get the reward and get with the, you kind of hit your goals, it's really worth it.